If you must ever break your rules on fried foods, make sure you pick this one right here. This is called Akara or fried beans or beans fritters, and I'm gonna show you how to make these perfect black eyed pea fritters, and they are delicious, especially when you make the sauce, spicy sauce that goes with it. Stay tuned. If you want to learn how to make flavorful food that promotes overall health, beauty, fight inflammation, and helps you stay fit, this is a channel for you. Let's learn to make amazing food and homemade products for beauty and glow. Welcome to Nature to Tea, a channel where you'll find out of the box and delicious recipes minus the toxins. Akara is like a savory beignet, if that makes sense. So basically, like a fritter made with black eyed peas that is blended, and then it is eaten with this spicy sauce made with tomatoes, onions, and other spices. And usually we eat it with baguette, but you can basically eat it by itself. The only problem is that when we make akara, we use oils that are hydrogenated oils, which are very inflammatory. So in this video, I'm going to show you a better and healthier way to enjoy your akara. Although akara is one of those that you should only eat once in a while, and besides, the process takes a long time. So just the prep and all that takes a lot of time to prep and make. So with that in mind, let's get started. The main ingredient for the akara is black eyed pea, and you're gonna need about a pound to a pound and a half of black eyed pea, depending on how much you are making. The next key ingredient is the oil, but please do not buy this oil. No canola oil, none of these hydrogenated oils, including vegetable oils. Even the olive oil extra virgin is not a good idea. Two of the options that are best is coconut oil extra virgin because it has a high heat point. The only thing with coconut oil is that it absorbs a lot in the akara, so it gets really oily, so I will not advise that. But the best oil to use really is avocado oil, which I use for my akara and most of the other things that I have to fry for a long time or deep fry. The other things you'll need are spices, and then the vegetables I'll talk about much later. So the first thing you want to do with your akara, every time you cook with beans, it's best to soak them. It lessens the bloating and gas and all that that comes with eating beans. So it's best to rinse and soak it for a couple of hours, if not overnight. However, with akara, if you're gonna soak it, make sure you already skin the akara. And with akara, people like to take all the skin off the beans. For one, that takes a long time, at least 2 hours, if not more. Secondly, you're taking all the fiber, well, most of the fiber off, so that kind of defeats the purpose of eating the beans. But if you want the aesthetic way of like the way we do it back home in Africa, you're gonna take all the skin off. But first, you want to rinse it. And to take the skin off, you're gonna need, after you rinse it and get rid of that water, you're gonna add some boiling water to the beans because it helps loosen the skin off. So here I'm just rinsing it, and then I boil some water. I added the water. You want to wait until the water cools down a bit, when it is safe to, and when you can handle it too, to put your hands in there, because you're going to need to rub these beans together to get rid of the skin. um, if you guys know a faster way of doing this, please let me know. But once the beans cools down, I got rid of most of the water, and then I started rubbing the beans like this. And you just keep rubbing it. Basically, the more friction you add to it, the more the skin falls off. So you keep doing this and then adding more water to it so that the skin can float up, and then you strain that, and then you have to pick some of it with your fingers. It's just a whole process, and you have to keep repeating this. With me, I take about maybe half of the skin off. I don't like to take all the skin off because I'm trying to maintain the fiber. but it's up to you. You can take it all off. Some people like it white, like all the skin off. But if that's you, hey, do whatever works for you. But yeah, I keep just rubbing it like this, and then as much as I can, take maybe about half of the skin off. And once you do this, you're gonna keep adding water and then taking the skin, and that's the really, I guess, hard part of this process right here. Just separating the skin from the beans. And every time you add a lot of water so that the water reach above the top of the beans, the skin floats up so that it is easier to pour it out and get rid of it. Also, I must mention this, be very careful with your sink. I like to put a strainer in my sink so that the bean pieces will not get in my garbage disposal. Also, the skin sometimes does mess with your garbage disposal, so it's best to have a safe place for the beans, especially this. I mean, the skin and the beans, especially for the beans. And then the other thing is, when you strain it, you will drop some of the beans in the part that you're trying to discard the skin. So all you do is pick it out and continue the process of separating the skin from the beans. And like I said, guys, if you guys know a faster way of doing this, let me know. But regardless, I still like to maintain some of that fiber, so I don't like to get rid of all of the skin. And this is what it looks like with about half of the skin was taken off. The next phase is to blend this, and you're gonna need a good blender. If you don't blend it smooth, the texture is gonna be a little off. So we're gonna get a good blender, and we're gonna add a little bit of water, not that much. So I would say for about a pound and a half of the beans, in total you're gonna need about 3 cups of water. And the water is to help the blending process and also to dilute the beans because you don't want it too thick. Um, You'll see the consistency in a minute that you're going for. And the other thing is, I found this more useful just because I don't use a lot of oil to fry my akara. Um, so mine gets a little flat after I fry it because I'm not trying to waste my avocado oil. But when people make it back home, they use deep fry it, so they use a lot of these terrible oils like hydrogenated oils, but they cheaper, so I guess they can afford to use a lot of it. But the reason why I do add eggs to my akara is to give it that fluff and that softness because I'm not deep frying it. So you want to find a big enough container, add the blended beans to the pot or container, and then we're gonna season it. And this is optional, but for me, I like to add eggs, 2 eggs to my akara. It makes it softer, especially if you're not quite deep frying it. So I'm not using a whole lot of oil here. So the shape of the akara, for the most part, is round, but mine will be flat for the most part. And by the way, guys, I am using different clips from different videos, so you'll see me using different pots and pans doing the same thing. And that's because I'm just trying to find the best angles and also the most clear clips to use. So here I am adding some seasoned salt in my blended beans, and I'm also adding pink Himalayan salt. All you need for this is just salt based things basically, because if you don't add a little bit of salt, well, enough salt basically, it's gonna be pretty bland. So once I'm done adding my salt, I'm gonna go ahead and add 2 eggs, mix the batter really well, and then we'll go into the next process of frying this. Now I'm gonna go ahead and crack my 2 eggs in the batter. And once I do mix this, I like to let it sit for at least 30 minutes before I start frying it. By the way, guys, I tried baking akara before. Unfortunately, it doesn't taste the best, and I kind of air fried it using my oven. Maybe if you air fry it using an air fryer, but the only thing is, I mean, only if you're making like a small amount because most air fryers are pretty small. But when you do try to bake it or air fry it, you will still need to add oil in the batter. If not, it's gonna be a little dry. That's the only thing about that. With the beans, it tastes better and the texture is better and it's softer when it's deep fried. So for my healthy people out there. But if you're deep frying it, like akara should be cooked, use good oils like avocado oil is the best. And with this batch right here, I use quite a bit of the avocado oil. And the more oil you use, the more of a ball shape you get. And the less oil you use, the flatter the akara is. For me, it doesn't matter. I just try to be more frugal and I also prioritize my health, so I'm not willing to take the risk of using those hydrogenated oils for my akara. So I try not to be wasteful with my avocado oil. The other thing also that most people do after deep frying anything is to use like bleached paper towel or other toxic means of like getting rid of some of the oils, but it's better to use a non-bleach like coffee filter or even non-bleach paper towel to help get rid of the excess oil. But you can also use those mesh tray or those mesh things that comes with those oven like countertop ovens, if you know what I'm saying. You can use that and let it sit there. Sometimes it helps a little bit, but the best thing to do is like direct contact with some kind of paper. Just use something without the high toxins when you do try to get rid of the oil because it is oily. Now it's time for the sauce, and usually I have the sauce going even before the akara, but I just showed that recipe first. So these are the ingredients for this sauce. You're gonna need some tomatoes, onions, half of a bell pepper, or if it's a small one, you can use the whole one, and some habanero pepper and or chili peppers. And then you want to cut your onions into small enough pieces. You don't want anything chunky and big. This is common cutting of our onions when we make African stew. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the onions and then the tomatoes and the rest of the stuff. And I like to blend my peppers. I put my habanero peppers with my chili peppers in the blender. And also sometimes I do like to blend in my bell peppers instead of chopping them up. Now it is time to start making the sauce. Now, once again, I'm using avocado for my sauce. So you want to heat up your pot, add some avocado oil in it, and just add all your veggies. And try not to start adding the seasoning until about 10 minutes after sauteing the veggies. And sometimes, this is another clip, I do like to add in a little bit of red onions as well. And the cooking of this sauce takes quite a while because you want to saute the onions until they're translucent and also caramelized. So it takes about 45 minutes to an hour. And then you just make sure that you could stir in it so that nothing gets stuck on the bottom of the pot. Another very important thing that I forgot to mention is when you're cooking, anytime you cook anything, especially if you're going to be sauteing and frying for a while, please, please, please make sure your pots and pans are toxic free. They don't have the PFAS, the lead, and all those things that can mess with your hormones and also can create other problems in your body. There's a lot of pots and pans that a lot of people use without even being aware that they contain a lot of toxins like lead, PFAS, PFOA, cadmiums, and other toxic chemicals. So be very mindful of that, guys. So while you are stirring and cooking this, you go ahead and adjust the salt, the spices, whatever else you want to adjust. Just do it to your taste. Some people like this very spicy. There's even a saying in my language that goes "Kubuga akara danganya mekane," which basically means if you love akara, you must be brave to be able to handle pepper, like hot pepper. So a lot of people cook akara, the sauce of the akara, with this very spicy sauce. And like I said, though, you can adjust according to your taste. It doesn't have to be so spicy that you'll be crying while you're eating it, even though spices, especially pepper, is good for you. And like I said, this is normally eaten with French baguette, but you can eat it with sourdough bread like I have here, and I have soup on the side. You can eat it however you want. You can even just dip the akara in the sauce and eat it as is. And I'm a big meal girl. By the way, I only eat twice a day. So when I eat, I eat. But anyway, here I'm making some, I guess, sandwich like thing with my akara. And this tastes so, so amazing, guys. So once in a while, when I'm craving for deep fried stuff, this is my to go to. If you use the right ingredients, as long as the fats you're using to fry it, meaning the oils, are healthy fats, it is okay. The only downside about frying anything with high heat when you keep frying stuff is not always ideal. That's why I say if you are craving for something fried once in a while, this is one of those to go to recipe, and it tastes so, so amazing, very delicious. Anyway, this wraps it up for this video. If you enjoyed this video or learned anything from it, don't forget to give it a like. Also, if you're leveling up and becoming a healthier version of yourself, whether it is food recipe, beauty recipe, or just working on elevating your holistic wellness, make sure you are following me on all platforms and that you are subscribed to my channel. And don't forget to hit that post notification so you do get notified when I post a video. I appreciate your time. I hope you have an amazing day, evening, and night, and I hope to catch you on my next video.